got some rather unfortunate news for the Edmonton Oilers, but some rather fortunate news for the NHL regarding the great one. And again, if you watch hockey, I don't need to tell you who the great one is because we all know who it is. But if you don't watch hockey, the great one is Wayne Gretzky, the GO himself of the NHL. There ain't no doubt about it, okay? Wayne Gretzky is stepping down as vice chairman of the Oilers, and he is actually joining TNT as an analyst next season. This is some big news, Nate. Way to kick off again. Obviously, TNT and NHL, they signed that 7-year deal. What a way to kick it off, Nate, by getting the great one as an analyst, you know? This is a quote from Tara August, Senior Vice President and Talent Relations and Special Projects of TNT. She is the Vice President of all that. She said, and I quote, the excitement additions of Wayne, Kenny, and Eddie will jumpstart our NHL coverage with some of the best and biggest talents in the sport. Their incomparable experience within the game and unparalleled depth of knowledge will bring a distinct dimension to our game and studio coverage. We're thrilled to welcome them to the Turner Sports family. And this is a quote from Wayne Gretzky himself. He said, and I quote, I'll be honest and forthright, but I'm not by any means controversial. And just so we're very clear, I'm going to be way more positive than I am negative. That's just my nature. You can still be critical without going over the edge. And then he continued by saying, I think the game is in a better position than it's ever been before. The young players who are in the game today are outstanding athletes and they represent the game the way it should be. And he said, and I'm 60 years old. I don't need the stress of running a hockey team day by day, but this gives me an opportunity to talk about the game and try to take it to another level. And a little bit on his career as being part of the staff for the Oilers as the vice chairman. He joined them in 2016 as the vice chairman, and he worked as a close advisor to owner Daryl Katz. And he also worked with the commercial side with parenting company Oilers Entertainment Company. And this was another quote by him regarding the Oilers. He said, and I quote, the Oilers, their fans, and the city of Edmonton have meant the world to me and my family for over 4 decades, and that will never end. Given the pandemic and other life changes, I realized I would not be able to dedicate the time nor effort needed to support this world-class organization. I want to thank Daryl and Renee Katz, their family, and the entire team for all the support and friendship these last several years and wish them nothing but success. And a little bit on his career playing for the Oilers. He spent 10 seasons as a player for the Oilers, winning 4 Stanley Cups. And his brother, Keith Gretzky, he serves as the assistant general manager of the Oilers. And again, Wayne Gretzky, what's very unfortunate about this is he served as a mentor for Connor McDavid, but that don't mean he can't still mentor Connor McDavid. You know, obviously he's already a mentor too, and doesn't mean he's not part of the team. Doesn't mean he won't mentor him. And a little bit of history on his past staff positions. Gretzky was part of the management staff for Team Canada, and he was the head coach and management partner of the Coyotes from 2000 to 2009. And before I pass on the unit, I just want to say the source for this was ESPN's Associated Press. And the original article that talked about him leaving the Oilers, the source for that was Emily Kaplan, ESPN. So I'll start off with you first. What are your thoughts on the great one leaving the Oilers as vice chairman and joining TNT as an analyst for next season?
Oh, first of all, best of luck to Wayne Gretzky at TNT. Congratulations to him. Yeah, man, I looked at it. It's a win-lose situation. The loser is obviously the Edmonton Oilers. He joined the team in 2016, and he helped out with the team. He did a really good job, Mario. They started getting back into the playoffs. Obviously, they weren't able to get over that hump, but they were starting to see a little bit more success because before that, they just really weren't. They're like a mediocre franchise, so I'll say that about them. But he was finally starting to help them get over that mediocre side and actually be an elite team. Despite not much playoff success, at least he helped out with that aspect of it. So not having them there is probably going to hurt the Edmonton Oilers. And as you probably all remember, they just got swept the other night, so that probably led to it as well. But yeah, Mario, going back to the Turner Sports deal, yeah, this is definitely a good thing for Turner Sports. Wayne Gretzky, like you said, he's been around the game for a very, very long time, 4 decades actually. Obviously he's the great one. He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT of hockey. He's been around other franchises. He's worked with them. He knows, he follows the sport. He knows this player, that player. So obviously he's going to do a really good job at TNT. And I love to see. I love to see athletes become analysts. A-Rod came when after he retired for ESPN. I'm pretty sure he helps out with Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. Drew Brees is going to become an analyst on NBC because he just retired as well. Same thing with Greg Olson, but I think he's going to be on Fox as well. So it's starting to become a lot more common to see athletes become analysts and announcers for their respected sport, and I love to see that. But yeah, with that being said, as for the Oilers, it's time to find someone that can fill in the shoes, and that's a lot of shoe to fill, because Wayne Gretzky again is Wayne Gretzky. He did a really good job with the Edmonton Oilers, despite the lack of playoff success. He, like you said, he was the mentor to Connor McDavid, and I don't have to explain who Connor McDavid is if you're a hockey fan. He's one of if not the best hockey players in the league, and he's going to be the future of this league. That's just what that is. You know what I mean? So that, and like you said, he definitely can't not mentor Connor McDavid. Even though he's going to be a TNT, he can definitely still mentor him. I definitely can see that. But with that being said, best of luck to Wayne Gretzky, best of luck to the Edmonton Oilers, and finding someone that can fill in the shoe for Wayne Gretzky. Best of luck to Wayne Gretzky at Turner Sports and TNT, and we'll see what happens with that.
Well, first of all, I wish Wayne Gretzky the best of luck in his analyst career. But yeah, Nate, I mean, basically you said it right. But I mean, I'm looking at this, Nate, and he's going to be joining Kenny Albert and Eddie Olczyk for that analyst panel. And one interesting fact, Nate, is he was kind of like propelled to the job by a good friend of his, which surprisingly is Charles Barkley. Him and Charles Barkley are good friends, and Charles Barkley, again, he kind of made a nice little pitch for Wayne Gretzky to go, and I guess it worked. And Wayne Gretzky is now part of TNT. But yeah, I'm gonna take it a step further about what you said with former players becoming analysts. I like that too. I like how former players become analysts. Here's what I love though, that Wayne Gretzky is probably the only GOAT in his sport. We know he's the GOAT. There's no denying that he is the GOAT, the greatest of all time. That's our opinion. Some people can disagree with us. Some people might say Bobby Orr, Mario Lemieux. They can say a bunch of things, but in my opinion, Wayne Gretzky is the GOAT of the NHL. A GOAT is going to be an analyst, okay? So let me ask something. Is Michael Jordan an analyst? No. Most likely will Tom Brady be an analyst? Who knows? But as of now, no. Okay, you go to baseball. Obviously, all the GOATs of baseball, they're like a lot of them are unfortunately like deceased. Like in my opinion, my GOAT is Babe Ruth. Obviously, he is deceased. He passed away a long time ago. Hank Aaron, again, he recently passed away. Rest in peace to those legends. But rarely do you ever find a GOAT and who ends up kind of becoming an analyst. You could point to Shaq, and Shaq, don't get me wrong, is a top 10 player of all time, but again, not many people I've ran into have said Shaq is the greatest basketball player of all time. You get what I'm saying? It's the same, and that's no diss on them. It's just I never really heard it. So when you really look at it, Nate, I think that is amazing that Wayne Gretzky is going to be an analyst, especially for TNT. NHL are making some big moves next season, and this is a big move for them. And Eddie Olczyk, again, great NHL player when he used to play. Nate, he was a great NHL player. And then last but not least, Kenny Albert. Kenny Albert, again, he's a great sportscaster. So they got a good panel right there, Nate. With those three guys, it's a good panel to start, and I can only see it growing bigger. The Inside the NBA, which is probably one of the most popular sports panels out there right now, right? Shaquille O'Neal, Ernie Johnson, Kenny the Jet Smith, and Charles Barkley. That started with just Ernie Johnson, Then Kenny Smith came along, and then Charles Barkley came along after he retired, and Shaq eventually joined last. Okay, it's the same thing. Who's to say this panel cannot grow? You get what I'm saying? NHL players could retire, and more guys could come in. And start and end up becoming a big part of it. But the NHL, I love this. I love that they hired Wayne Gretzky. I'm glad that he's going to be an analyst because Wayne Gretzky is obviously the greatest hockey player of all time, but I think he's one of the smartest hockey players of all time. But yeah, Nate, I'm so happy that this is going to happen. As for the Connor McDavid situation, he can still mentor him, but it's going to be kind of weird. Like, because as a mentor, you start to see like the strengths and the weaknesses of your player. Of the player that you're mentoring, So he knows what Connor McDavid's strengths and weaknesses already are, but it's going to be kind of weird for him to be an analyst. So if they ask him like a question like, the Oilers are leading, I'm just going to use a random team, for example, the Bruins, like 3-2. What can the Bruins do in the next period? it's going to be hard for Wayne Gretzky to kind of answer that question, right? Because you're basically going to tell them the weaknesses of the guy you're mentoring, your mentee. You know what I'm saying? You're basically gonna give up those secrets. But I mean, again, Wayne Gretzky is a very smart man. I think he'll know. I think he's gonna know exactly what to say. You know, I think he's gonna know exactly what to say. I think he's gonna know how to go around that question and still, regardless, be a great analyst. You know, and it's again this whole team. The Oilers are not just Connor McDavid. There's other guys on that team as well. So again, he could be a fair analyst and still be a smart one at that, without and still mentor Connor McDavid. You know. But again, with that being said, again, congratulations to Wayne Gretzky on becoming an analyst for TNT. I wish him, Eddie, and Kenny the best of luck. As for the Oilers, I wish them the best of luck. It really is unfortunate that Wayne Gretzky stepped down because he was such an important part to that team. But you know what, Nate? It really is unfortunate for the Oilers. Right now, like if I was an Oilers fan, I wouldn't be too happy. Didn't Mark Messier? Didn't he kind of what happened? Mark Messier, something happened with him, right?
I can look.
I believe. But anyway, I believe he wanted to be. I believe I believe they were looking at him to be the head coach, but I guess it didn't turn. I guess it didn't work out. So maybe there's something there for Mark Messier, because Mark Messier again is an Oilers legend as well. Obviously, he's not to the status of Wayne Gretzky, but regardless, he meant a lot to the Oilers. So who knows? Maybe Mark Messier comes in and ends up doing something for them as well. Maybe he takes over Wayne Gretzky's old position. Who knows? I know they got Keith Gretzky. I know he's the assistant general manager over there. But again, with losing Wayne Gretzky, it really is unfortunate, Nate, for the Oilers. But with that being said, I wish the Oilers the best of luck. Obviously, they got a bright future with Connor McDavid. Recently, since Connor McDavid's been drafted, they only got past the first round once, which is very unfortunate. But regardless, I hope that the Oilers I hope the Oilers fortunes, I hope it ends up turning around, because recently it hasn't been that successful for the Oilers. But regardless, I wish Wayne Gretzky the best of luck. I wish the Oilers the best of luck. I wish TNT the best of luck in next season. And I'm very optimistic for the NHL heading into next season regarding the deal with TNT.